Hello, welcome to World Talks. I'm Jasser. Poland has announced plans to pour 1 billion euros into helping Polish companies grow in Africa. This comes as the European Union is seeking to boost its presence on the continent to counter Russian and Chinese influence. To discuss this, I'm joined by Ambassador Krzysztof Olendzki, former Polish ambassador to Tunisia, and an expert on Africa in the Polish Foreign Ministry. Ambassador Olendzki, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me here. Good morning.
So, 1 billion euros is perhaps not the greatest amount, but it's a good start. So what does Poland aim to achieve with that money?
So, I mean, 1 billion, it's not a big amount in comparison to other big European states. But anyway, comparing with other Central European countries, we are a little bit ahead of them. So, first of all, we are trying to de-risk the presence of our business, especially of small and medium-sized companies in Africa. So Africa is maybe not a promised land, but definitely is one of the most important partner for Europe and in the same time for Poland.
So how big is the Polish activity, business activity in Africa?
I will tell you, frankly, nobody knows. Nobody knows because, I mean, from the one side, we are having, relevantly big companies who are engaged and who are having multi-billion contracts with different European countries. Recently, it was a big deal made by Polish high-tech companies in Angola. And still Angola is the promising market for Poland. But also in the UK, it's also Morocco. It is growing as our market, the market for Polish business. And from the other side, there is still Tanzania.
But are we talking here about trading? So let's say Polish companies selling their products in Africa. Or are we more talking about investment as such?
I mean, it's both. Mm-hmm. The modus operandi is to invest. Its modus operandi is to create partners with whom we will be constructing and making something together. As it was in the past, in the 60s and the 70s, where Poland was assisting new created African states to build up the independence, to build up the economies.
But this was still under communism in Poland, right?
It was still under communism, but they were under colonial rules. We were under colonial rules. At that time, many Poles were...
You mean Soviet Union was...
I mean Soviet Union, yes. and many Poles, many Polish patriots who were, living in the country, they were thinking that helping or staying with Africa means that in the next future, we will have the same chance to liberate ourselves from the Russian
domination. Mm-hmm.
Domination.
So, in terms of potential countries or sectors that Poland is interested in, you mentioned Angola, you mentioned Morocco, right?
Yeah, it's Angola, Morocco. In the same time, Algeria is also very, very promising.
But this is North Africa.
That's mm-hmm. North Africa. Mm-hmm. But in the same time, as I said, it's also DRK. It's also Tanzania, Rwanda. Then we are having still as our partner with whom we are developing our business. It's Republic of South Africa, and then next to it, it's Zambia. Senegal is also a very important partner. Then we are having countries in Western Africa.
But you said it's difficult to quantify Polish presence, the business presence, but there are no numbers whatsoever, the size of trade, or I don't know.
I mean, with Morocco, we are having the trade with more than 2 billions. In the sense of the European mean of this word. In the same time, with Angola, we are passing much more than 2 billions. Then, all together, we are having something like 100 and plus
billion euros.
Billion euros.
In mutual trade.
In a mutual trade and in a mutual presence. Because it's very important that Polish business is penetrating Africa, independently of the support from the Polish state. They are going by themselves. I mean, our businessmen, they are really very active, and they are searching for
innovative,
very innovative, and they are searching for the business opportunities and for partners there, and they are finding them.
So how will you assess the success of this new program? What are the milestones or?
I mean, it's a good starting point. It's a good starting point. Now we are waiting for concrete results, which could be better measured, and which will be, in numbers, surpassing what we achieved in the past. There is still a huge space, really huge space for the development, and for our business, and our state is going to support our business. So the fact that we started the program with the BGK Bank, Polish Development Bank, state-owned, for create the environment which will help to de-risk the presence of Polish business.
And why is it for Poland important? And there's a wider context. Of course, there's the EU Africa summit coming up in Angola. So why is this suddenly for Poland such an important
global
priority?
Gateway and so on. So Africa is a huge market. It's a huge opportunity. It's also a kind of the paradoxically. It's a kind of the solution for the risk, the big security threats that are coming from different sides. So for Poland and for the EU in general, Africa is a challenge, but it's also opportunity. But we must, and we are changing the modus operandi in cooperation with Africa. So that it's not anymore the development assistance.
Right.
It's a past.
A different level.
It's a past.
Okay.
Now we are having partners there.
Right. I wanted to ask you about something else. We know that in Africa there is somewhat widespread perception that the West is to blame for Russia's aggression on Ukraine, and maybe it's not entirely sympathetic towards Moscow, but it's ambivalent. So what can Poland contribute to straighten the narratives and counter some of the falsehoods peddled by China and Russia in Africa?
So it's really very, 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 very difficult, because European narratives are not well received. Then from the other side, for our adversaries.
Why is that?
They are having means, and they are having tools which democratic country which respects rule of law is not able to apply. So our adversaries, they are acting in a very violent way. But from our side, we are going to present them the kind of our story, bringing influencers, journalists from Africa to Poland to Central Europe to Europe. Presenting them the fact that EU is not only France and Germany, but EU is much more larger. It's 27 countries, and those 27 countries, they are having definitely different story that the post-colonial states of the European Union. Recently, we hosted a group of African journalists from Sub-Saharan Africa, and we've presented them our story of the Russian domination. And we were in one of the Warsaw museums where they are presented the chains that Polish prisoners were wearing while going to Siberia. And our African friends, they were absolutely amazed and surprised at how similar those Russian chains were with the chains that Portuguese or Brits they were enchaining slaves in the past. So they understood that the Polish perception or Central European perception is very close to their perception of the independence and of the freedom.
So what stories from Central and Eastern Europe interest African audiences? I'm looking for a tip because maybe we can do more on this.
Sure. I mean, first of all, I mean, there's a spirit of solidarity. It's still very important. Our story of
solidarity trade union, you mean?
Trade union, yes, but also solidarity toward Ukrainians. So the recent story that we made together when the full-scale invasion started in Ukraine, and from the other side is still John Paul II. So his message on the human dignity was and still is extremely important for Africans, not only for those who are Christians or Catholics, but also for those who are moderate Muslims, who would like just to cut off any ties with the Muslim terrorists. So this story of how human dignity should be protected is absolutely fundamental and important for them. So there's also our story of our transition, economic transition. So we made it when they are coming to Warsaw and they are seeing those skyscrapers, and then they are going to the Museum of Warsaw and they are seeing how was Warsaw in 45.
Or even 30 years ago.
And even 30 years ago, yeah, and they are stoning of this.
Okay. Well, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And good luck with Polish ventures in Africa.
Thank you. We need some luck there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching World Talks. I'm Adam Jasser. Stay on with us for more news and analysis.